Most guys say they hate approaching women. They say it feels awkward, it feels forced, pointless, embarrassing. But here's the truth: you don't actually hate approaching women. If you really hated it, you wouldn't still be here watching videos about it. You wouldn't feel that frustration in your chest when you see a girl that you want to talk to and you don't. What you actually hate is how it feels right now. You hate the confusion. You hate not knowing if you're doing it right. So in this video, I'm going to explain 4 reasons why approaching women feels so painful for you right now and how to fix them. So reason number 1 you hate approaching women right now is because your initial goals are just way too high. You go out for the first time and in your head you're thinking, I'm going to talk to a few girls, get a number and get a date. That's your expectation. And then the reality hits. You go out there, you get a few rejections, conversations last maybe 10 seconds. Some girls don't stop, some girls don't react the same way you imagine. And then you go home thinking, wow, I suck. This doesn't work. This is not for me. And that's exactly why you start hating approaching women. The problem is not you. The problem is the goal that you set. What if I told you that you're not supposed to get a number in the first few weeks of approaching women? What if I told you that a 10-second interaction with a girl is actually a win in the beginning? If you go out and you stop one girl, say one sentence, and she stops for a few seconds before leaving, that is massive progress.
Sorry, excuse me. I just saw you over there. I thought you had like a super nice head.
Thank
So
you very much. I just
I had to.
noticed.
That's perfect. Yeah, yeah. So I just I had to say hi. I thought
Hi, I'm not from here.
not you're from just visiting as a tourist.
Yes, yes, I'm from Greece.
From Greece. Perfect.
Yes.
I'm from but I work at least a little bit.
Ah, you work Greece. You live here.
Yeah, I live here.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're okay.
I'm leaving in 3 days.
Okay, but still,
Thank
yeah,
you very
it's a
much.
very nice hat.
That's already you doing something that most guys would never ever do. But because you expected a number or you expected a date, you labeled that as a failure. And when you label early progress as failure, you quit. And that's why approaching starts to feel painful. Not because it's bad, but because your expectations are unrealistic. You expect short-term results from a long-term skill. And here's the flip side. While you overestimate what you can do in a week or two, you massively underestimate what you could do in a year. If you consistently practice approaching for a year, your results will be completely different. Not only you'll get numbers, but you'll get real dates and real confidence. But you'll never get there if you demand outcomes before you build the actual skill. So if you hate approaching women right now, ask yourself this question: are you hating the process or are you hating the expectations that you put on yourself? The reason number 2 you hate approaching women is you have no strategy. Imagine going to the gym with no plan at all, no program, no idea what you're training. Just walk in, copy random exercises you saw on the internet or you see other people doing, lift some weights, maybe use a machine or two, and then you leave. You do that for a month, you do that for 2 months, and then nothing changes. There's no progress, there are no results, and at some point you start hating the gym. And then you make the conclusion that the gym doesn't work. But the truth is the gym works perfectly. You just weren't making it work. And that's exactly what most guys do with women. You go outside, you walk around, maybe you go to a bar or a nightclub, you see a girl, you walk up to her, you tell her she's beautiful, and then you just hope something happens. Of course, nothing happens. There's no strategy to this. You're just saying random things. You're saying them in the wrong way. You haven't warmed up. You're not calibrated. You're nervous. So you default to giving compliments or asking boring questions. She gets bored. She says she has to go, or she rejects you politely. And then you go to the next girl and do the same thing, and again and again and again. And after a while, you start thinking, oh, well, this doesn't work. Or worse, you start thinking, there must be something wrong with me, my looks, my personality, something I can't fix. But the real problem was never you. The real problem was that you had no strategy. You need to start treating this like an actual skill, like public speaking, like giving presentations. Just like learning how to communicate well in a professional setting, talking to women is a skill. Flirting is a skill. Leading an interaction is a skill. And skills have structure. These are not gimmicks. These are not pickup lines. These are actual frameworks you need to learn and practice. And if you want to stop doing things randomly when it comes to flirting, there's actually a free flirting guide for logical men in the description. Thousands of guys have gone through it. For most of them, it was the first time flirting actually made sense. And once you have the strategy, everything changes. You stop guessing. You stop blaming yourself. You stop hating the process, because now you're not just trying your luck. You're actually practicing a skill. skill. Reason number 3 why you hate approaching women is you haven't learned how to step outside your comfort zone yet. Look, anything worthwhile in life, anything that actually changes you starts with discomfort. That's literally the step 1 of every self-development book ever written. Growth feels uncomfortable in the beginning. It's supposed to. So when you feel that tension in your body before you go and approach a girl, when your heart rate goes up, when you feel that resistance, that's not a sign that something's wrong. That's actually the sign that you're doing exactly the right thing. But most guys, they misinterpret that feeling. They feel discomfort immediately and label it as, oh, well, I hate this, or this feels wrong, or this isn't for me. And that's the mistake. What you're calling hate is really just a discomfort. And discomfort is not bad. Discomfort is the doorway to growth. The more uncomfortable something feels, especially in the beginning, the more valuable it is. And that nervous energy, that resistance, that urge to avoid it, that's literally your comfort zone trying to protect itself. So instead of framing that feeling as something negative, you need to frame it and reframe it as something positive. You want to tell yourself, okay, I feel resistance right now. Good. That means that I'm pushing myself. That means that I'm doing something that actually matters. Because think about it. If approaching women was easy from day one, it wouldn't change you at all. The reason that it's uncomfortable is because it forces you to grow. A lot of guys think they need to get over their fear before they act. And that's not how it works. You don't get rid of fear first and then take action. You take action while the fear is still there. You learn to walk straight into the fear and move anyway. And once you stop seeing that discomfort as a problem, once you stop fighting it, everything changes. And finally, the reason number 4 why you hate talking to women, approaching women, is that you don't see the big picture. You don't see how important this actually is. When I start working with some guys and I tell them to approach some strangers and ask for directions, they often say, what's the point? I'm just walking around talking to random people and nothing's happening. And that's because they're missing the point. Yes, in the beginning, you're just asking directions. On the surface, it looks pointless. But what's actually happening is something much deeper. For 20, 30, maybe even 40 years, a lot of guys have been masking their social anxiety. They've been hiding their insecurities. They've been telling themselves that everything is fine. And the moment you start interacting with strangers, all of that gets exposed. And now you have to deal with it. And that's where the real process starts. You start confronting your fear. You start confronting your insecurity. You start to become more social, more grounded. And slowly, one by one, those insecurities start to dissolve. Yes, part of this journey is talking to women, getting numbers, getting dates, relationships. That's why people start. That's why men get into this. But the real magic happens underneath. As you learn to communicate better with women, you learn to communicate better with yourself, with your own thoughts, with your own emotions. You're forced to face beliefs that you've been holding on to for years, sometimes even decades. And the reason that I love this process is because you can't fake it. You can't skip it. There's no shortcut. It's a real journey. It's a kind of a hero's journey where you systematically confront and eradicate your biggest insecurities. So if you see this just as walking around, giving compliments and getting rejected, you're missing the entire point. Approaching women is just a vehicle. That's not the destination. I've had many guys tell me that learning this skill was one of the most meaningful things they've ever done, more meaningful than years of therapy, because you can't hide. You're not sitting in a comfortable chair talking about your problems. You're facing them directly in real life, in real moments. You're forced to look at yourself and decide what you're going to do about your fear, about your anxiety, about your insecurities, about your life. So don't see this as something shallow. It's not about picking up women. It's about becoming the kind of man who can face discomfort, who can face his fear, who can handle life. And once you see this bigger picture, it becomes much easier to push through the hard moments, because you know you're not doing this just for dates or to get laid. You're doing this to become a better person.